What is the Chinmaya Mission? What is a Swami? And what am I doing here? Our founder, Swami Chinmaya, right here, may have asked the same question. He began as an investigative journalist in India in the 1940s and was curious about the Hindu monks residing in the Himalayas. He was a skeptic, and after meeting Swami Tapavan, became intrigued and began his studies. For over 40 years, he hosted public lectures to thousands of people on the subject of Vedanta and the Bhagavad Gita. In the 1960s, he came to America and even gave a talk at Cal State Bakersfield in the 1970s. Swami Chinmaya left his body in 1993, and there are now over 25 Chinmaya missions in North America. My name is Diana Gordon, and my path to the mission evolved about 2 years ago when I came for meditation class with Dr. Mehta. I admit, as a Westerner, it was an unusual environment and a little outside my comfort zone. However, within a few weeks, I felt a connection with the teaching that resonated with me. It is a spiritual place, inclusive of all faiths, non-judgmental, and contains some of the kindest, most caring people I've ever met. As you came in here, you were asked to leave your shoes at the door. What I found, excuse me, okay. What I found is that there's also an understood rule of leave your ego at the door. I find that refreshing. It is a safe environment, and the student is encouraged to contemplate on the teachings, not just accept everything as the truth. There, in your little packet that was on your seat, there's an index card, and we're going to be using that tonight for questions. So this is a rare opportunity to ask Swami Ishwarananda a burning question that you may have. We'll collect the cards, and he'll do as many as he can, time permitting. Also, I want to thank Dave Voss back there, who's from the Jesus Shack. And Dave has graciously volunteered to film our event, and we're very thankful for that. We're honored tonight to have Swami Ishwarananda speak to us. Swamiji met his spiritual master, Swami Chinmaya in 1986. Inspired, he left his career as a software professional in India to fully engage in the lessons of Vedanta, the science of life. After many years of study and service, he was initiated in the monastic order by Swami Tejomayananda, the current worldwide head of the Chinmaya Mission, in year 2000. At present, Swamiji is a senior minister in the Los Angeles area. He works with numerous centers in the U.S. and Canada, conducting retreats and lectures on various spiritual topics. He places emphasis on practical application of spiritual principles in daily life, stress management, and spirituality in the workplace. Swamiji has authored many books, including Conscious Living, Silent Search, and Pathways to Peace, which are available tonight on the book table back there. A dynamic speaker and deep thinker, Swami Ishwarananda is able to convey subtle spiritual knowledge to the listener through insightful discourse, ready wit, and humor. He will be speaking tonight on the topic of finding the purpose. Thank you.
My dear friends, first of all, thanks for coming to this session with an open mind. When I first talked to them about the possible program here, we struggled for a while about the topic that we would like to discuss this evening. It should be something which caters to a common man. And at the same time, it should be somewhat interesting to a seeker of any religion. I read a very humorous quote just yesterday. Religion is for those people who are afraid of hell. Religion is for those people who are afraid of hell. And spirituality is for those who have already gone there. So I don't know which category you belong to. So there's no fear in walking this path of spirituality. So finding a purpose of life is somewhat a great adventure, I would say. Because if you ask a small child, which is just a few years old, what's the purpose of life? What's your goal of life? You would say, I would like to become a truck driver. Because that's fascinating for the child. Especially the garbage truck. That's something to do. As the child grows up, probably its maturity also grows up. And it is able to clearly see why it is doing what it's doing, what's the profession it has to seek. But as adults, once you have settled down in life and profession, you suddenly find this emptiness. I do not know. Am I just imitating what others do? Am I doing something different? Am I doing something unique? Am I doing something which is making me feel full? Many times we find that we just keep repeating what others have done. And my master, the present head of the Chinmaya Mission, he would say, if you keep doing what you have been doing, you keep getting what you have been getting. Nothing new. So finding a purpose of life at the religious or spiritual sense is somewhat an inward journey. If you have achieved enough in your professional life, family life, then there is always a seeking for something different. So today I am going to give you 7 important steps, I would say, on the spiritual purpose. And the 7 has become a very catchy number nowadays. 7 spiritual laws, 7 habits of successful people. I think he came up with the 8th habit also now. So I may probably have something 8 in my pocket. Sometime I'll tell you about that. So 7 steps in finding a spiritual purpose in life. The first one is, which you all probably would agree with me, is happiness. You know, nobody would do anything in life, no endeavor we undertake in life if we have to become more miserable. And anything that we do, even if you have come to this program this evening, is because you find that I would become a little more happy by coming here. If you are going to become miserable coming here, I'm sure after 10 minutes you will walk out from this place. Any relationship that we take up, any habit that we pursue, or anything that we do in our life is basically to become a little more happier than what you have been. That is not a new idea that I am proposing in front of you. It is there even in the Bible. It is said, the kingdom of God is not food and drink, but righteousness and joy and peace in the Holy Spirit. So it is evident that in all well-known religious scriptures it is said that happiness is the first and foremost purpose of anyone's life. In Upanishads it said, in the infinite alone there is joy. In the finite there is no joy, only a little pleasure. Alpe nasukamasti in Sanskrit. There is no real joy in something finite. So where do we begin? We all begin with what we know. In Buddhism it is said, the first comes the desire of contact. If you look at yourself, where do you find happiness most of the time is desire in contact. That is, the tongue seeks tasty food, it's a contact. The eyes seek beautiful things, that's a contact. The skin seeks a soft or hard touch, that's a contact. Every part of our body seeks some contact. So the happiness born out of contact and touch, a union. This is the first desire for happiness. Even a child does that. The child wants the soft touch of the mother. A beloved wants the soft embrace of the beloved. A patient needs the soft words of his doctor, physician. All of us seek that soft contact, a very warm and loving contact that can give us pleasure and joy. The second one, as we grow up, is the desire for bliss, an inner inward joy, an inner happiness, an inner fulfillment, a contentment. As you move along in that path, you will find the third step is passing of the passion. Beyond the passion, beyond all the urges, beyond all the seeking, is there something which is the land of infinite? And the last one comes the joy of the self, the joy of God. So this is the way Buddhism puts the first purpose of life, happiness. I'm sure anybody in this world you ask, what do you want in your life? Is just to be happy, peace of mind. I often say this, if you want peace of mind, don't keep your mind in pieces. It has to be integrated. So the first purpose of life, all of us see, is happiness, to whatever extent we can. The second purpose of life, as we move along, we see loving God through doing something different to somebody in our life. Some change, either in our own life or in someone else's life. And that is said, that it is said in many scriptures that loving God is possible when you do some service to someone. Because we are all enjoying the benefit of God's grace. If you don't believe in the presence of God, then the nature. The nature which is always giving plenty to us. And you should give it in return. That is the second, the most important purpose, that is service. By service I do not mean anything that you need to exert yourself to accomplish what you can, what you are capable of. If you are not even capable of giving back what you are already possessing, how do you ever reach to give something that is beyond your means in terms of extending yourself beyond what you can? And it is said, happiness shared is service to God. Happiness shared is service to God. So many times when people ask me this question, somebody, why do you have always people around you when you eat food? I said that's the best way to make everybody happy. Is it not? In any religious event or any social event, what do? You give food. Right? And food is the only thing people can say at the end of it. I'm done, I'm full, I'm fed up. Is it not? Anything else, money, you want more. But only food you say, enough, that's enough for the day. So, happiness shared is the first service to the Lord. And in the Upanishads it is said in Hindu scriptures that the whole creation is what is technically known as Leela, a sport. The whole creation is a sport. When we become part of this play, we understand our role in it. Just like in any game, everyone is given a particular position. In that position, if he plays his role or her role, the whole game is complete. Similarly, if you understand the whole creation is a play, and when you know your role in it, you will understand how well you need to play to make sure others are playing their role. In this understanding and awareness, you have no need to imitate anybody else. It's your role, you play that. And your wife, your husband, she plays her role, let her play that. Your child, your parent, your boss, your senior, your neighbor, your brother, your sister, your friend, they have their roles to play in your life, and you have your role to play in their life. Just play that role. Just do the best in that role. And that's the beautiful game of the Lord going on, and you are part of that. And that is your service to the Lord. That is your giving back to the Lord. That is how you understand that each one of us are here to do our role, to our part, so that we can enjoy, coexist, and be harmonious. That's a beautiful way of looking at the entire creation as a divine Leela, a beautiful play that is going on. This is the second beautiful purpose that you understand. The first one, may I remind you, is to find happiness. First is a desire for contact, and then desire for bliss, then the passing of the passions, and finally, joy of self. The third important purpose of life, as we go ahead and see that, most well-known religious scriptures say, realizing your own heart as God's abode. The Lord's abode, His dwelling place, is one's own heart. So Islam says, conform to the characteristics of God. Very simply put, but very powerful. Conform to the characteristics of God. It's said that you have to be in tune with Him. You have to be in unison with Him. The way He behaves is the way you would behave. In the Upanishad it is said, that thou art, you are that. And with no mixing of words, you are that. It is also said, bright but hidden, the self dwells in the heart. Everything that moves, breathes, opens, closes, lives in the self. He is the source of love and may be known through love but not through thoughts. It's the goal of life. This is a very interesting point from the Upanishads. Love is the language of the Lord and not the thoughts. In the heart, no thoughts, only love. Because we as university-educated individuals, we always try to understand everything through process of intellection. And that's where we fail to understand His presence, the Lord's presence in our own heart. When we use the intellect, it is to analyze what is true and what is false, what is there and what is not there, what exists, what doesn't exist, what is temporary, what is permanent, what is happy, what is unhappiness. But the Lord's presence is something beyond the intellection. It is not possible to comprehend that. The Upanishads say that where eyes cannot reach there, where the words cannot reach there, where the mind cannot think about it, where the intellect cannot conceptualize, that is His presence. It is also said that eyes can see because of Him, but eyes cannot see Him. Mind cannot think about Him, but because of which mind can think about Him. Speech cannot reveal Him, but because of His speech is revealed. Body cannot live without Him, but because of whom the body can live itself. So, the third important purpose of life is to know that your own heart is the abode of the Supreme. So it's the kingdom of the heaven is in your own heart. So when we say heart, it's not the pumping one here. It's not that which is pumping the blood into the body. No, not that. It is the seat of emotions, the seat of love, the seat of all feelings. And so you cannot ever reject the feelings and emotions while you walk the path of spirituality. It is, in fact, it is the very essence and very fuel of your whole journey. So very often we find that in the name of spirituality we become dry. We become so intellectual, and we go on arguing and continuously discuss about what is said in the scriptures, what is right and what is wrong. We just totally reject the role of the heart in the whole process. So, it is the heart which is the word of the Lord. So, the third important purpose of our life is to recognize that constantly there is something which is guiding me from within, and that the Lord's abode is my own heart. The fourth important purpose of life, which is said, is the essential goodness which we all have to possess. The essential goodness is very simple. It is not that far from your home you have to go to find where it is. It is said that once Jesus Christ was asked this question, who is the greatest in the kingdom of the heaven? He was asked by his disciples, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? He brought a child in front of them and he said, I say to you, unless you turn and become like the children, you will never enter the kingdom of the heaven. It's such a powerful statement. Go back to the innocence. If you look at the child, especially when I deal with a lot of children in our church there back in LA, and I visit various classes. We have all the grades, 12th grade onwards, all the way to kindergarten and the small children. So every week I go and visit one of the classrooms to just talk to the children. So the past few months I have been. When I went to the 12th grade kids, they hardly would talk. They have no questions for me. And even if I ask questions, they will just keep quiet and look very sympathetically towards me. Easy asking questions. And as I have proceeded on week after week, now last week, yesterday, I was in the 2nd grade class. Even before I entered, they have so much of joy to welcome me. Oh, Swamiji, please come to our class. And they had not less than 40 questions for me. That curiosity, that enthusiasm, that innocence. One of the boys asked this question to me. Why do you keep the Sunday class at 9 o'clock? This is one of the questions he asked me. So I asked, why not? I can't get up. On Sunday morning. That's a simple question to you. And immediately the other fellow said, me. That's what I said. Why do you wear this cloth? Second question. So what is this cloth? What's wrong with this cloth? Why do you wear orange cloth all the time? I said simply because I'm an orange monkey. So, when you are in the midst of those children who are so innocent, they have no inhibitions. Because their heart is empty. They have no prejudices. They have no ego. There is nothing as a hidden agenda. That's simple and very open. No superficiality at all. No artificial about them. And that innocence is where we have to go back to. As Christ said, that is when you enter the kingdom of heaven. That innocence, that simplicity, that inhibition-less existence. No hidden agenda, no ego, no prejudices. And that's most hard part of our life, to become simple, to become natural, to become spontaneous, to become simply joyful. That back to innocence is the most difficult part, but that is the fourth important purpose of life. And that is possible only when we know that the heart is the word of the Lord. It's there. So why should I be afraid of anything? Why should I pretend to be something else? We pretend to be something else because we want to impress others. We pretend to be something else other than ourselves because we want to be noticed. We pretend to be something other than ourselves because we feel that we are not great. We are not known to the world unless we do something different. But what the scriptures would say is, if you are just be yourself, just not to pretend yourself to be, pretend not to be, pretend yourself to be somebody else is the way you are becoming so away from God. So here, again, Buddha was asked this question, what is goodness, what is greatness? He said, to follow the way of Buddha and hold what is true is called goodness. And when your will is in conformity with that way, it is called greatness. So where your will, your individual will, is no different from the way of Buddha, then that is called greatness. If you look at any saint or any sage, what's the name? What you clearly notice in the person is simplicity. Not simplicity. I don't mean by simplicity, but the simplicity, the spontaneity, the love, that openness, that compassion, that spontaneity. That is what is most attractive. They don't pretend to be somebody else other than what they are. So the fourth purpose of life is to go back to innocence. To find the essential goodness within us, which is already there, which is being shrouded and clouded by our own superficialities. So that is the fourth important principle of finding the purpose of life. Then comes the next one is, which is a little more subtle than being innocent, is to become no mind. To become no mind. God's nature is realized when you reach no mind, stripping away from all desires, concepts, intellection, and volition. This is where a meditation or going into the silence becomes an important step in all spiritual schools of thoughts. They say, get into solitude. Not to be away from the world, but away from your mind. Not to be away from your responsibilities, but finding the prime responsibility of your life. In that isolation, in that solitude, in that peace, in that quietude, suddenly you find that all the various sufferings, sorrows, agitations, in all kind of the various impediments and obstacles that we go through in our life is because of the one enemy within, mind. So whenever the mind wanders away from yourself, bring it back again and again and bring it back to your own self, says Bhagavad Gita. Whenever you notice your mind is moving away from its own center, consciously bring it back. So the heart is the abode of the Lord, bring it back to it. So for this purpose, they have various traditions which have, in India itself, in the Hindu tradition itself, called yoga. You all know that. The yoga or pranayama, or the control of the breath. All these things are not just for health. It is for finding the inner self, which is the very silent presence of one's own Lord, which is in the absence of the mind. Absence of the mind does not mean don't think. Many people think like that. So, Swamiji, I have been living without thinking, so am I fine? do I have to do anything extra for this? No. It's not just not thinking. Not thinking happens even when you go to sleep, or when you take a nice, few pecks of alcohol. The mind is not there. In fact, when I was there 3 months back, I was traveling in Asia, and early morning we landed in Seoul, and I was walking along in the airport, and there's one place where you have duty-free section. So the shutters were down and the shops were closed. So one person came along with me, and they were so curious to find out what is inside that behind the shutters. So we kept our eyes closed to that glass and then looked inside. It's all bottles and bottles of alcohol. So I told it to the person, when you become spiritual, you have no duty in this world. That's why it's written duty free. you become spiritual, there is no duty. So no mind is not where you get into the heights due to some kind of external drug or an external stimulant. It is where you find the very source of your own existence is your thought. Just think about it. When you don't think, when you don't have thoughts, in this deep sleep condition, you don't even know your existence. Others know your existence because you're snoring away, but you don't know your own existence. So my existence, or I know that I exist, is because I have thoughts. So it is the Western tradition that says, Western psychologists they say, you think, therefore you are. The Eastern traditions say that you are, therefore you think. So my present condition of who I am is decided by what kind of thoughts I get. If I have happy thoughts, then I consider myself a happy being. If I have unhappy thoughts, then I say I am an unhappy being. But your existence is neither happiness nor unhappiness. That's all shaded and created and polluted by the kind of thoughts that I have in my mind. So I am an unhappy or unhappy person is decided by whether I have happy thoughts or unhappy thoughts. By my existence as such is neither happiness nor unhappiness. I am. So no mind is a state where you don't create an image of yourself. No mind is a state where you don't create a brand of yourself. You don't look yourself as someone, somebody. You don't refer yourself as this physical body. You don't refer yourself as so and so. Son of someone, daughter of someone, wife of someone, husband of somebody else. All these relationships are created by the kind of thoughts that you create. Therefore, to stay in solitude, in that silence, to find out who really you are, that is what is referred as no mind. It's the fifth purpose of life. The first one, as again recall, the first one is the happiness. The second one is to do the service as the sharing of joy with others. The third is to know that the heart is nothing but the Lord's above. The fourth one is return back to innocence, essential goodness. The fifth one is to find no mind. That's the beauty of the spiritual life. Irrespective of what religion you belong to, irrespective of the caste and the color and the creed and the sex, the teaching is the same. Find your own source of existence where there are no thoughts can exist. And that when you realize that this physical body, this frame of reference that we have, as somebody, man or woman, human or otherwise, happy or unhappy, successful or unsuccessful, miserable or joyful, all these so-called images that I create, it's just superficial. It doesn't exist for long. So no mind is considered as the fifth purpose of life. The sixth purpose of life, according to most of the great masters, is self-perfection. To be one with the Spirit is perfection, and such a man is called a sage, a saint, a prophet, a Buddha. A peaceful sage is like an ocean, in which many rivers of desires will flow in, but never the ocean ever overflows. It is calm, deep, and peaceful. And this comes from Gita. And also it is said, a perfect being is one who can see himself in all and all in himself. That is from the Upanishads. So the sixth important purpose of life is to find that self-perfection. By self-perfection, I do not mean doing everything perfect. And because many people have this bad habit of, if I want to be perfect, I have to be doing everything perfect and make sure everybody around me does the same thing. So who is a perfectionist according to the worldly standard? He is the one who takes a lot of time to be perfect and distributes that to everybody. Makes everybody painful around. That's not what is called self-perfection. He who can see himself in all and all in himself. That is a perfection. Where the individual is unmoved by any sorrow that happens in his life. This is possible only when I have found that no mind in my own seat of meditation. That my frame of reference as an individual is no more. With respect to the physical body, I am just a reference here. Really speaking, the one in me, which is beyond happiness and unhappiness, beyond all the thoughts and feelings and emotions, is the same is in every one of them. Such great people become the sage and saint. Not because they declare themselves, others throng, they just go to them because they find themselves in them. They are like a mirror. You go there, they reflect you. A child goes there, they reflect the child. Everyone who goes to such an individual finds themselves in him. That's the beauty of the sage. He doesn't have his own personality. He doesn't show himself as an individual. He doesn't make himself different from others. So a sage or a saint, it is said, is like a deep ocean. Very calm, very peaceful, content, never overflowing. The depth of whom you do not know. Just like the ocean's depth is never known. You can go on traveling, you will never find its depth. In the same way, a sage lives in the great depth. If you see a ship on the ocean, it is able to stay. It's because it is deep within anchor. Is it right? In the middle of the ocean, if the ship has to stay, unmoved by the waves that are hitting upon it, it's because it has found its depth. It's anchored there. So is the case of a saint. He has found its depth, and therefore he is unmoved by anything that happens. He becomes immortal. Not physically. Physically, obviously, every one of us will die. No doubt about that. Even the great saints, of what the name they have, all passed away. Physically, they are not anymore. But a saint comes to realize the immortal nature of himself, because anything mortal is not he. He knows that I am not that which dies. My master used to say, nobody dies, everybody dies. Every body dies. Nobody dies. No individual really dies. But the bodies die. As even you take the flower in the morning and you put it in the altar or anywhere else, at the end of the day it is gone. The life of a flower is just for maybe a day, maybe a few hours. You can see that. Fresh flower early in the morning, you pick it up, put it there in front of on the table or somewhere. Within a day or two, it's gone. So is our life. So is this body. But I, the beginningless, endless presence, will never die. This firm rootedness, this firm abidance, this firm steadfastness, that makes a sage unmoved by any sorrow, any suffering that happens in his life. And such a person alone can be a support to others. Just like when you go to a doctor, a physician, and you tell about your problem, he must be giving a word of assurance, isn't it? Don't worry, I will take care of it. If you cry, he also cries with you. Then you won't go to him. He should be saying, oh, don't worry about it. Even if he knows that he cannot be saved, he will say, don't worry about it. So one fellow went to the doctor, and then the doctor checked his all the symptoms, and then did all the various tests, and then he came back to him and said, I have a very bad news to give you. So what is it? You don't survive for long. I don't survive for long. How long do I have? 10. 10 what? 10 minutes? 10 months or 10 weeks, 10 days? 9. But even at that time, he has to give the assurance at least next 8 seconds you will live. do something better. So just like a doctor or a physician is there from whom you derive the strength, a sage is one who gives strength to all because he is unmoved by anything that happens within for him. So that is the depth which he has found. That is what we mean by self-perfection. The last step, that is the seventh one, is the most interesting one, which is called the universal love. The universal love is that love which is committed to give love and welfare to everyone. Total commitment to welfare of all. As Bible also would say, God reveals when we love each other, for He has given us His own Spirit. When a person responds to the joys and sorrows of others as if they were his own, he has attained the spiritual union with God. Praise be done. So when you are a man of universal love, you consider others' joy and sorrow as your own. That's the reason why we find the saints are so closer to the heart of everyone. When I go and suffer, show my suffering, or show my sorrows, and talk about what's happening to my life, I find somebody who is there to listen to me. Somebody who is there giving ears to me. Because there are many people there when you are happy. Very few people will be there when you are happy. It is said in one of our well-known traditions in Hinduism, there's a great saint, Kabir. He says, if there are many people who think about God when they are happy. There are very few people. Very many people think about God when they are unhappy and not during happy times. If a person can remember the Lord during happy times, will there be any unhappiness for him ever? So the one who is ready to share your joys and sorrows equally, it is a saint who is ready for the universal love. A man is true Muslim when other Muslim has no fear of anything from his tongue or from his hand. This is Islam. Meaning that person alone can be a man of universal love, but nobody fears him. No living being fears about him. Not only human. In the various places when I have visited in India, I have seen what we know as ashrams, where the saints live. Most of the times I have seen it is not only human beings, but all different animals come there. Whether it's a dog, it's a cat, or cows, or other even wild animals. They come and they live with these saints as though there is nobody there. They are so happily living together. It's because this individual is expressing that universal joy and love to every being. A great person known as Ramana Maharshi in south of India, he had all these animals coming to him. And they just stay. Even otherwise they are afraid of human beings. When he is sitting there and others who are around him, they will just come and sit with him. And even today, if you go to that place where he was dwelling there is a particular time when there will be the bulb will be rung to invite God at a particular point of time in everyday routine. At that time, I have seen it many times. The peacocks from the nearby hills just flow. They fly and they come and sit just next to the altar. They know the time, even before the bell is rung. And once they come and sit there, they start ringing the bell. It's very interesting to watch that. It's not that after that, obviously, when that sound is made and then they come in there, you can understand. But they first come and sit there, and then the bell will be rung for the Lord. And that's to show that their sense with the saint is much more deeper than what human beings can feel. very interesting to note that. Once I was with my master, and we were walking towards the temple. It's a very old temple which we have in our center in Bombay. I was walking with him. Suddenly there were a lot of growth there, and suddenly there was some sound, and I stopped. My master also stopped. There was a 12-foot python, black in color, was moving just right in front of us, just a few feet away from us. Huge, thick one. I can imagine, looking at it, I almost lost my heart. It was about to collapse. My master looked at me and smiled. This has been there for the past 40 years in this ashram. And it doesn't do anything to anybody, because it is his vehicle. It is his ornament, the Lord Shiva. So he is there, not at all afraid of human beings, and never bitten anybody in that 40 years. So we find that where the saints live, all living animals live together. No fear. So the love of God, the love for God which the saint expresses, is a language of the universal nature. The universal love can bring all living beings together, and a saint gains that perfection. The final purpose of life is to exist, to only to express the Lord's love to the maximum number of people. So it is said, to an addict, nothing compares to a dope. Nothing is like a dope. To the fish, there is nothing like water. To the saint who has immersed himself in the love of God, nothing but love. That is the final purpose of life, is to express the universal love of God. So let me recall these 7 different purposes. The first one is to find happiness, which is where the first step that we have to take. In this happiness, it is not about contact with things, which is where we are. It is beyond passion and going beyond the need for passion. To find a joy. The second important purpose of life, as we have seen before, is realizing, and the next important purpose is what?
Service.
Remember it.
Service.
Serving the Lord, serving the world, or sharing your happiness. Third is to find the Lord's abode in your own heart. The fourth one is returning to innocence and goodness. The fourth one is no mind. Right?
Fifth one.
Fifth one. The fourth one is then
Innocence.
what is that? What is the third one? Third one is defining the Lord in your happiness. The fourth one is, I am confusing you definitely. Let me recall here. First one is happiness, right? The second one is loving God through the service. The third one is to realizing God as your own heart. The fourth one is to return back to the essential goodness. And the fifth one is to reach the state of no mind. The sixth one is to find the self-perfection. And the last one is to express the universal love of God. Now, having said this, it's very important for us to find that we need to start somewhere. Because we can live our life as we have been living. There is no difference between what we are today than what we were yesterday. And tomorrow will be exactly the same. So I have been telling the students who come to me is to first find the urgency of the situation. The urgency, if it is not felt, no action will be taken next. Once a disciple went to the master and said that, what is the need for this urgency? He said, I'll tell you later. And then they went to take a dip in the water, the river next to their place of dwelling. So as as they were taking a bath, this master suddenly picked up this boy's neck or the head and pushed him inside the water. And as he pushed him inside, he was trying to come out of it because he's pushing inside the water and then he was not able to breathe. And he was struggling, he cannot even speak, he cannot say anything. He was struggling and struggling. After some time, finding that he can no more fight with him, he was about to give up. Just released the hand and that was, he came out. So he looked at his master and said, "You decided to kill me because you can't answer my question?" He said, "No." "Then why did you push me into the water?" He said, "What were you thinking when you were under the water? What were you thinking? What food, what breakfast you will have tomorrow? What dress you would wear for the next day? What's your plan for the next day, next few months? What were you thinking?" He said, "I couldn't think of anything. I just want to survive. I just want to breathe." That must be your urgency. In that way, if you feel that you have to become better, then you'll take the step. Until then, if it happens, it happens. Many times people, when I say that it is so much of urgency is necessary when you want to move into the spiritual path, they say, "I am just 65, I have enough time to go." 65? You are already too late. You must have started when you were 30 or even 25. So the sense of urgency is the most important part. Because if we don't have the sense of urgency, we would not try to change anything immediately. So just like a philosopher went to a pizza parlor and he said, "Make one with everything." Very philosophical. He went to the pizza guy and said, "Make one with everything." So that guy put all sort of stuff in the pizza and then brought it to him. And how much is that? He said, $15. "Oh, okay." They gave him $20. And then he went inside, he never came back. So he rang the bell. Then the bell came, "Yes, hey, you have to give me the change." He says, "Change should come from within." He was so philosophical about it. And I can also be very philosophical. So this urgency must happen within. What happens to us is, we wait for something to happen in our life to go to the spiritual life. Some tragedies, some mishap, some failure, that really opens you up. But should we wait for that? Many people go to spirituality or to religious life only when there is a great tragedy that happens in their life. But that's too late. Don't wait for that. So masters say that the urgency you will feel only when you are in the company of people who are feeling the same urgency. When you are in the company of people who are complacent, who are happy-go-lucky, who are happy with what they are doing, and they don't want to do anything else, you will never find that urgency. But when you are in the company of people who are trying to become better, try to do something better than what they have been, and trying to improve themselves every day, then if you are in the company of such people, you will suddenly find that you are liking the thing. Yesterday in one of the places when I was giving a talk, I was giving this as an example. Let us say you are traveling in a train which is going 100 miles an hour. And you are traveling in the train which is 100 miles an hour. What speed in which you are traveling?
100 miles.
100 miles an hour, right? Because you are sitting inside the train. All right. Let us say a small fly got into that very train when you are traveling. A small fly got in. That fly, which is inside the train, not traveling, not touching the train at all, not touching any of the part of the train. What speed in which that fly is traveling? It's not touching anything. If the fly has to come here in front of me, will it be traveling? No. But inside a train, where the fly has got in, what speed in which it will travel? 100 miles.
100 miles.
Why? Is a fly capable of traveling 100 miles an hour?
No.
You are sitting in the train, but the fly is not sitting in the train. Right? It will also travel under lights and hour because the mass moves. Inside the train, the mass is moving. That's why we go to the mass. Why? Mass means the association of people who are thinking alike. Only when you are in the mass, you will think like them. You will travel like them. You will move like them. If you are all by yourself, it's very hard for you to travel at speed. So that's what we call in Sanskrit as satsang, to be in the company of the people who are of the same thinking. You are in a mass now. You are in the company of people who all seek the same thing. So there is a mutual help that happens when you are in the company of such people. Just like the mosquito there or the fly there is moving, even though it is not touching any part of the tree. So also when you are in the company of the people who are thinking alike, you will be able to move in the same speed. So I would invite you to come to such kind of a mass, as much as one mass in the sense, company of people who are able to think in the same direction, so we can move together, helping each other. Thank you. So if you have any questions, you can please pass it on to me.
Questions can be verbal. If somebody wants to ask on the mic, or you can send written questions, as you wish. Yeah, please give the cards to Diana and come.
This question is interesting. I spent much of my life in addiction with no healthy contact to my emotions. Now in recovery, I am learning to experience emotion and see it as valuable. As I grow spiritually, should I welcome emotions or strive to escape them or avoid them? So emotions are a very essential part of our growth. There's no doubt about that. None of us can really escape from our own emotions, because the more you escape from them, the more it will haunt you. But to convert that into healthy emotion is very important. That's when the spiritual company is very important. Because our emotions essentially are, if they are base, if they are low in nature, a low level emotion always seeks secrecy. A higher level emotion always seeks a better company of good people. A lower level of emotion always lives in secrecy. But a higher level of emotion always seeks maximum people to share with. So if you really like to gain that higher level of emotion, seek more people to share with. That's, I would suggest, that's how you come out of it. Don't escape them, but to convert them into a higher level of emotion by being in the company of people with whom you can share. Hope that answers your question. Swamiji, what should be done about jealousy people spreading lies about you? How does one stay peaceful in this situation? Also, why must we do what we do not want to do? The first question is, what should be done about jealous people spreading lies about you? You know, how does one stay peaceful in this situation? See, when you recognize somebody is jealous about you, you must be very proud about it. Because somebody can be jealous about me, wow, that's good. That means I can, somebody looks up and says, oh, I cannot be like him or like her. Right? So, when you try to stay away from that sort of people, really speaking, if you know who they are, the best thing is to bridge the gap. Make them feel that you are not alienated or alienated. So most people feel jealous about you because you are not communicating with them or you are not going closer to them. They feel that you are staying away from them, therefore they want to make sure that you are punished for that. So the best way is to communicate, to be closer to them. If you know who they are, extend a friendly hand to them, saying that yes, I understand you, I like you, and I would like to be part of your life. So there's no way you should stay away from such people. Then you'll be only creating more distance and more hatred in their hearts. And the second question is also why we must do what we do not want to do. That's an interesting question. So there's no must and must not about things. The point is that if we find out what makes us move further in our life, it is something which we should be happily engaged to do that. Like for example, if a small child is there which is trying to walk, and the mother pushes the child to walk, get up and walk. It is something the child wants to do but does not know how to do it. Many times when we do not know how to do it, we say, I don't want to do it. So seek the people who can help you to get into that action. Just like a mother helps the child to walk, and then after some time, the child runs and then the mother says, shut, sit down. So first 5 years we spend and make the child walk. Next rest of the years we make them sit down. So the child tries to walk, but he doesn't know how to walk, and therefore he is finding it hard. Not that he doesn't want to. In the same way, certain things which we know that we need to do, but we do not know how to do it, and we think, should we do it? So that's the time when you have to seek the company of people who have done it, and who can help you do it. So when you understand that you need to do that, then you seek the right people. What role did Swamiji have in reshaping modern Christianity? Okay. So I do not have the right understanding of what do we mean by modern Christianity. If somebody can clarify that, modern Christianity. Anybody? What do we mean by modern? So probably I would presume that modern Christianity means openness to other faiths, maybe. Is that so? Anybody who has written this may know about that. Because I may not have opinion about Christianity as such unless I am part of that. I do not know what it really means. Okay, next one is how does an act committed on you as a child get free from your heart, soul, and body? Okay. So that means something has happened in your childhood which is still bugging and nagging you in your heart. You want to get out of it. That's what I would understand what the question means. There are methods of overcoming them which some of the yogi practices have prescribed. Most of us live at our conscious level of mind. A conscious mind is a logical mind. A conscious mind is a mind which looks for reason for doing everything. But we are dictated by the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is full of habits. Subconscious mind does not look for reason. It looks for pleasure. It looks for convenience. It looks for easy way out. It looks for habits. So when you are a small child, you picked up many of your habits, many of your behavior, many of your characteristics from the people whom you have observed. Most of the habits are so strong in us because we have got it very early stage of our life. Or those habits which we do not consciously think and rationalize it. It gives us pleasure. It gives us happiness, instant happiness. It gives us some kind of a satisfaction. We pick it up. And so, most of the subconscious level of existence is when we get into a habit and the way we react, the way we think, the way we respond to situations are decided by the subconscious mind. So, when you with the conscious mind, you can never rectify or control the subconscious mind. Because the logic doesn't work. Most of your habits are not logically decided. Isn't that? Think about it. So the subconscious mind has to be directly dealt with. So when you go into this state of deep meditation or quiet, your subconscious mind wakes up. You will recognize what are those things which you do, even though you know it need not be done. Meaning it has no meaning in your life. For example, in most of the people from India, they have to have early morning coffee, especially from the south of India. I'm sure many of you also have some kind of such addictions. You ask them why? Why do you need to do it? No, I've been doing it for a long time, therefore I have to do it. There's no logic in that. Or the way you react to situations, sometimes you find yourself no logic in that, but you do it every time. And even if you consciously, logically say, yes, I have been aware, I'm aware that this is not the right way to do it, but then force of habits. So the subconscious mind rules the conscious mind. However much of rationality, logic you bring in, it will not listen. So directly dealing with subconscious mind is necessary. At some point of time you find, if you are a religious person, your prayers will help. If you are a man who is ready to practice meditation, yes, it will help. Or if you are in the company of people who can give you the right way of getting out of it, one of the methods which I have found is in the yogic practices is what is known as yoga nidra, where you get into a state of not sleep but deep relaxation, where you start suggesting to yourself what you want to overcome. In that relaxed state of mind, when you suggest to your subconscious mind that I need to get out of this particular habit or the way of thinking or the way of behaving, over a period of time, there is a possibility that you can get out of those subconscious impressions. So I have found it very interesting and very useful, the deep, relaxed state where you can get out of your subconscious behavior. So if your childhood traumas are haunting you, one of the ways of overcoming is to go into the deep, relaxed state and directly come in contact with the subconscious mind and rectify it there. It may take weeks together to actually overcome them, but there is a possible way of getting out of it. And there's no shortcut. Don't take any drug or any other means to get out of it, because that becomes another habit. So that will be an endless chain then. Okay. Then a sense of urgency brings change. How does the breath in meditation release and open the mind so that we begin to or able to have out of body spiritual experiences? Okay, so as I just explained to you in the practice of yoga nidra, that is deep relaxed state of mind, one may find one particular practice which will come closer to this. We all think presently that awareness, our consciousness is somewhere lodged inside us. Because when I see something, it is as though the consciousness in me is looking through the eyes. When I'm hearing some sound, it is consciousness in me hearing through the ears. When I taste something, it is consciousness in me is through the mind tasting something. But actually speaking, the consciousness is not operating from within, it is operating from outside. It's a whole shift you must understand. That is the reason why when you go to sleep, the contentment and the deep state is not coming from in the body, it is outside the body. The relaxation takes place, complete relaxation takes place because the awareness is controlling from outside. Even though I think that my mind is the one which is the source of thoughts, I'm thinking and feeling and emoting, but it's actually consciousness is working from outside. This is to be explained in detail. I'm not going into those details now because you considering yourself body is also a thought. I am the body, this physical body I am. This thinking, constant thinking is also an activity of the mind. And the mind is being powered by outside you, not So when in the yoga nidra or a deep relaxed state, you start focusing on part by part of the body. Starting from the toe all the way up to the head. You start focusing on every part of the body, from the toes, from the foot, from the feet, to the ankles, to the leg, to the thighs, to the knees, to the thighs, the waist, to the stomach. And you go on traveling in your body, making your attention move from one part of the body to another consciously. And then go back to the foot again, to the toes. Then come back to the head. Go back to the feet. If you keep moving it, you will suddenly find you are outside it. You are outside the body moving it. It's a very interesting experience. I mean, it doesn't happen so easily. Once I had this experience, and it is very scandalous. Extremely, what do you call it? Threatening people. Because you are not inside. But it's just a split of it, and I came back again to the body. And then I talked to some of the masters in the same field. They said that don't do it too often. It's not good. Because it's not easy to even, I don't want to go into the details, but he said that once you know it, that's enough. So, what you're asking as the out-of-body experience or the spiritual experience is possible, but I should know why you want that. It's out of curiosity you want to know it, that's one thing. Because many masters warn against that, don't do it. But you will definitely feel this kind of experience when you take up to this deep relaxation practice. That is possible. How can you control the mind? That's an interesting thing. Because see, I have read many interesting anecdotes from many masters. They have said that the moment you decide to control the mind, it will start rebelling. It will start doing all sorts of things to make sure that you don't control it. So the easy ways to control is to watch it. A part of your mind should be a watchtower, watching the other one. Split the mind into two parts. One which behaves as it has been, the other one which is constantly watching it. The moment you start watching your behavior, yourself, what you say, how you say, why you say, when you say, or what you do, why you do, what you do, not just trying to judge it. Don't judge, but just watchful of what you're doing. Do not brand it as right and wrong, good and bad, correct or incorrect, appropriate, inappropriate, joyful or unhappy. No, don't judge the action or reactions or behavior or thoughts and feelings. Just watch. A part of your mind watching it. And you'll find, because somebody is watching, it will get controlled. Presently, there is nobody to watch. Therefore, it behaves whatever it has been. But the moment you put a part of your body, mind to watch, there is a natural discipline that takes place. So that's the easiest way to control the mind. The second way of controlling the mind, which is prescribed by many masters, is to watch your breath. Breathing is also another way to control the mind, because breathing and thinking are very well connected. So when you are unhappy, agitated, your breathing is very fast. When you are calm and peaceful, your breathing is slow, steady. So in the same way, if your breathing is agitated, calm and quiet, your mind also becomes quiet. If breathing is too fast, your mind is also agitated. So they are connected to each other. So if you want mind to be quiet, then quieten your breathing, slow down your breathing. But then this cannot be done on a daily basis, because when you deploy yourself in solitude, you can do that. But when you are working with the world, working with many things that you have to interact with, it's very hard to do that. So that's why the witness point of witness practice, having a part of your mind witnessing or watching the other part of the mind or the behavior of yourself, is considered to be much more powerful. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for coming. And we do have some lectures coming up tomorrow onwards. You may have the information with you now. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have evening lectures on a particular portion of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 30. Towards the end of the 30th chapter, we will be giving that. And on the Saturday, we have a small seminar about which I would like Dr. Mehta to announce. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Swamiji, for this very enlightening discourse. As Swamiji mentioned, we will have lectures by Swami Ishwaranandaji from tomorrow till Friday, every evening, 7 to 8:30. The topic is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, as Swamiji mentioned, which deals with the field and the lower of the field. That means the spirit and matter and what are the relationships. So that is a very interesting subject, and we will be hearing about that from Tuesday to Friday, 7 to 8:30. Everybody is welcome. Please join us. On Saturday, we have a very, very interesting seminar at Memorial Hospital. It is our 7th year in a row that we have been doing it. It's co-sponsored by Memorial Hospital and Chinmaya Mission. And it is from 8 to 12:30, 7:30 to 8, we have breakfast, and then 8 to 12:30, the topic is health and spirituality. It's a very interesting subject, and we have Swamiji, Swami Ishwarananda, and then there's another professor from Fullerton, from the Hope University, who is an expert in this subject on health and spirituality. So the seminar is open to all. You don't have to be a physician, and it is free. We do not charge for the seminar. Everybody is invited. Those who are physicians, nurses, or psychologists will get the continuing education credits, but the topic is for the general public, so everybody can understand that. So all week we have classes, Tuesday to Friday in the evening, 7 to 8:30, and Saturday from 8 to 12:30 in the morning. Come half an hour early if you want breakfast. We have flyers for this week's activities outside. Diana and Mary will be handing out the flyers. Also, we welcome and encourage everybody to come for our weekly classes. Swamiji mentioned about the importance of meditation. We have a weekly meditation class every Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30. And everybody is welcome. And then we have orientation for new students to stay for half an hour afterwards. So that is a weekly meditation class. We also have a Bhagavad Gita class, which we will be talking about a similar subject every Sunday from 11 to 12:15. And we have a ladies study group, a women's study group that Neeru is conducting every Tuesday from 1 to 2. So we have the details of that in the flyer outside. So please join us. And thank you very much for coming. Thanks to Diana for organizing this. Yeah.
One more thing, please. If you would fill out the registration form, if you'd like to get more information, that would be lovely.
Yes, please fill out the form if you want to be put on our email list. We'll send you, Swamiji sends us every month a one page of some spiritual advice called e-satsang, so we'll forward you that. And also any upcoming, because almost every month we have some speakers from out of town. Swamiji is here, and then we have different very knowledgeable teachers coming from the Bay Area, from New Mexico, and so on, Chicago. And so we'll just keep you informed of our upcoming events. Thank you very much, and thank you, Diana, for organizing.